But there's a scene in this film that I found interesting, and it takes place on the phone. When you film a scene like that, is it easier to film an intimate scene over the phone, or is it easier to film it together? And are you on the phone with each other when you shoot that scene?
So we shot that at separate times. And I shot that with Ivan, our Bulgarian first aid. I think I don't like phone scenes because it's you just acting with yourself, basically, even if you have someone reading for you, and it's kind of you just on screen. And so no, I think that I personally find it more difficult.
Yeah, I'd agree with Joe. I think almost like all scenes that you do on your, I always prefer acting with someone because you can kind of, you bounce off them and they're like carrying half the load in a sense. So always definitely like easier to have, another member of the team on your side with you.
Hero, you have a great balance in your performance and throughout these three films, in my opinion, where it's this juxtaposition between vulnerability and his tough skin. And there's this element where like he can break at any moment, and the vulnerability to me is really interesting. I wondered if you could just talk about finding that tonal balance for the character.
I don't even know how I would get into how I do. I spend a lot of time before the deeper, more emotional scenes just needing to be on my own and getting into the right mindset. And a few people in my life who I definitely draw on that kind of temperament that I've had kind of first-hand ability to draw from is always interesting. But no, I don't even have like a key to it. We just kind of turn up and see what happens. But it is one of the funnest things about playing Harden is trying to balance that vulnerability, but like you say, tough skin.
How do you not actually emotionally fall for the person that you're working with? And I know that you're acting, and I totally get that, but I find that interesting in terms of like, do you have conversations about that? Because you're working so closely in such close proximity, you're playing characters who are in love with each other, that are physically together. How do you keep that from happening?
Well, there's something great that a friend of mine who's an actor told me, which is a lot of actors know the importance of action, but they don't know the importance of cut. And I think you just have to be aware of both those things. And when you're playing a character who's different to you and the other person's playing a character who's different to them, it's when cut happens, it's you're different people. On screen, it's like, oh, these two people, wow, look at this conversation, it's flowing. But then you say cut and, oh, one of them has a different accent, the other one has a different personality.
Yeah, no, I think Joe explained it really well. I think that summarized it perfectly, and you do put so much effort in preparing and planning for the role that you are hopefully aware that it's not yourself. But no, it's an interesting question, but again, I think like Joe said, when we call cut, it's just like calling action in the way that you wouldn't expect Joe to carry on talking in her accent when you call action, and it's the same vice versa after cut. So.
I know this might be a strange scene to bring up, but it's actually one of my favorite scenes in the film. It's a scene where you both are just brushing your teeth at the same time. And I there, for some reason, that scene speaks volumes to the characters, even though there's no dialogue really there. I just love that scene. I think it just speaks to the characters. I wanted to ask what that scene kind of meant to you, just the silence of that scene, and kind of like what you think it meant to the characters.
I'd like to take credit for that. I don't know if it actually was me, but I think it was, and I'm very much like I like scenes in movies where they're doing human things, like seeing people on the toilet reading a book or brushing their teeth with their boyfriend. Like that to me is reality, and I get frustrated when I don't see that in films, and so I think it's really nice when you get to do that.
The journal that Harden keeps. Do you actually write in that, and what do you put in that journal?
I do, yeah. If it's montage scenes, I might go a bit off brand of Harden and do some random doodles of what's in front of me. But of all the proper scenes that he's supposed to be writing in it, and the camera's rolling, I am writing what Harden would write. A lot of the time, the prop people will write something in there that Harden will have written directly from the books. So I'll often continue on that and just kind of get lost in Harden's thoughts. And there's pages in there of me just literally documenting random things that he might be thinking. So it's not 100% in his brain, but yeah, 95%, especially when the camera's rolling, I'm writing what I think he would be writing. So